Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my weekly Parsha class of Zera Shimshon, Midrash, and Rashi. This week's Parsha is going to be Parashat Lecha, and we're going to be covering the Zera Shimshon, we're going to be covering Midrash and Rashi. And before we learn the series, there's a special before and after prayer, and before I'm going to get to that, I would like to go over the dedication page. And this section is a prayer request dedication for those who listen to the series or read it weekly at the Parsha table. This week's Parsha is dedicated to the following people for the following categories: health, wealth, happiness, salvation, inner peace, serenity, mental health, zivug, proper and healthy upbringing of children, inner strength, growth in Torah. And it's dedicated to Tzvika ben Esther, Rivka Liat bat Miriam, Leah Bracha bat Rivka Liat, Yaakov Israel ben Rivka Liat, Esther bat Margalit, Miriam bat Sarah, Yehuda Arya ben Esther, Nisim ben Miriam, Shmuel ben Esther, Keren bat Miriam, Teila bat Keren, Batya bat Keren, Moshe ben Fani, Rezel bat Rochel, Reinen Lev ben Rezel, Penina bat Esther, Sharel ben Ronit, and Esther bat Batya. And is also dedicated in memory of Leilu Nishmat, Nachman Tzvi ben Chaya, Margalit bat Batzion, Sarah bat Rachel, Aaron ben Miriam, Eliyahu ben Nachman Tzvi, Miriam bat Esther, Zachari ben Adizai, Shmuel ben Miriam, Rafael ben Yehuda Leib, Leah Tamima bat Reuven, Rabbi Reuven Tzvi Bauman ben Esther Bela, and Rabbi Yosef Tzvi ben Yaakov, Rabbi Ezer from Neve Yerushalayim. So the point that I wanted to cover with the Zera Shimshon is called blessings that rebound to the giver. And this is located in book 1 on page 64. And I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you. Let us explain the words, and you will be a blessing, and I will bless those who bless you. The Zera Shimshon explains it as follows. When a person's blessing for his friend comes true, then the same goodness will be upon the person who gave the blessing in the first place. There is a similar idea in the Bava Kama, located in 92a. The Gemara states, one who prays on behalf of his friend while needing the same thing will be answered first. The idea is dafka. When a person's prayer is answered for his friend, it rebounds to the original supplicant. When the prayer is not answered, he too will not receive whatever it is that he lacks, although he will certainly be rewarded for his efforts. The Zera Shimshon continues to state the proof in the Gemara, Masechet Chulin 49a, which points out that even a non-Jew who blesses his Jewish friend will be blessed himself. This serves as additional proof that the concept of a person blesses his friend, he himself will be blessed in the process. Now, why does Hashem emphasize that blessings will be returned when we tend to bless others? It's not really in our human nature to be, what's the word for unselfish?
Selfless?
Selfless, thank you. It's not really in human nature to be selfless. So when we go out of our nature to do something good for somebody else, Hashem goes out of quote unquote nature to reciprocate it back, if that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions on this section?
Yeah.
Can you read it out to me?
She's asking if I'm praying for my friend and myself for the same thing, let's say shidduch. If the answer is no for her or him, then I get a no too. That's not cool.
Well, if you're praying for somebody specific to be your shidduch, it could be that that person is not for you. If you're praying for your friend, for a shidduch, for someone specific, when you pray for a shidduch, you can't really specify a specific name because you're not really aware of who is the right one for you and who isn't. Hashem knows which one it is. If you say it plainly, I would like to, daven for my friend, for her to have a shidduch, and I would like to have my shidduch ploni ben ploni, Hashem will say, but ploni ben ploni isn't good for you. So if you just do it as a generalized statement, the more you daven, it could be that it's a no right now, but all of your prayers get bundled up for when the time is right, and then all of those zchuyot get passed on to you when the time is right. Does that make sense?
She's saying no, just for a friend, family member, etc. So I think she's basically stating, and she could type if I'm wrong, but she's basically saying, like, if she's davening for her friend, and that friend needs a shidduch, and she also needs a shidduch. I think what she's trying to say is, if the answer is no for her or him, meaning like probably like it's not the time for them, but I don't think Miriam would get a no. I think it's more. I think this is more of like a timing thing.
Yeah, it is
more than
exactly.
anything. It's not Hashem is not saying no. What it is that if you're praying for your friend and you also need the same thing, he's answering both of you guys, but what is not being revealed is when you will see the answer to your prayer. So he doesn't say no, but it's, what is it, more of like...
it's a timing issue. It can't be that Hashem will say no for a person to have a zivug, because he commanded Adam to be fruitful and multiply. So it goes against...
She got it.
Okay. So it goes against what he's demanding of us if he's not giving us a shidduch. You know, it could be just a timing issue. Does that make sense?
She got it.
Okay.
I think it's better when I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I can talk to you.
I think I also see the comments.
It's just a delay, like I told you before.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So now we're going to be moving on to the next section, which is the little Midrash says, and this is in Bereshit, Lecha, page 68-69. Stay away from bad influence. Avraham separates from Lot, and Lot settles in Sodom. Avraham was a tzaddik, and Hashem blessed him. Lot, Avraham's nephew, who traveled with Avraham, also had many riches, but not because he was a tzaddik, but because he was with Avraham. After some time, arguments broke out between Avraham's shepherds and Lot's shepherds. And one day, Avraham said to Lot, "It's not good that we argue. People will say Avraham and Lot are relatives and they don't live in peace. Therefore, it is better if we separate. If you go north, I will go south. If you go south, I will go north. Don't worry, I won't be far from you, so I can help you if you need me." So Lot decided to settle in the city of Sodom. The decision was a mistake because the people in Sodom were the worst people in the whole land of Canaan. Lot lived amongst the robbers and murderers, and Lot made two mistakes. Number one, first he left the tzaddik Avraham, and the next one, he decided to settle next to Rashaim. And our sages tell us in Pirkei Avot, I can't really see the chapters over here.
1.7.
In 1:7, to keep away from a bad neighbor and do not associate with a rasha. We are advised to stick to friends who help us be good and do good. We must stay away from those who influence us to do wrong things. This is a pretty interesting take. There's a couple things that I wanted to add to this. And let me see if I discuss it first of all in the Rashi. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Now I'm saying Sodom sounds like modern day.
Yeah. Well, it is. Why does Hashem make the point to stay away from bad influence? It doesn't matter what kind of background you come from, how much you think you can trust yourself. Anyone can fall when they're around a bad influence. You know, it just takes one comment, it takes one thought that was blurted out that will cause you to start changing your original way of thinking. And the Midrash makes this point on staying away from bad influence. It's very easy to be sucked into what everyone else is doing. going with the flow, staying in your comfort zone, etc. The Jewish nation has the ability to resist bad influence and to stand out and to be a light unto other nations. When we step out of our comfort zone and don't do what everyone else is doing, this is in reference to bad influence. We have room to grow, and Hashem blesses those who stay away from the evil influence. Also, I would like to note that in Pirkei Avot, it says a mitzvah will bring a mitzvah and a sin will bring on more sin. Once we start letting bad influence take part in our lives, it becomes a snowball of consequences and eventual disconnection from Hashem. So stand out, step outside of your comfort zone, be a light unto others, and don't stay in the darkness. And I think even my birds agree with me. And they got quiet. That's so funny.
Not all of them agreed though, because not all of them got quiet.
Does anyone have a question with the section that we just covered?
Which one?
Stay away from bad influence.
Yeah, okay. So, but like, here's the thing. We live in America, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's so corrupt. I mean,
That it is.
you know, it's like, you can try, how could one try to stay away from bad influences when, like, it's practically wherever you go, it's a bad influence? You might as well just stay inside. Which way I'm interpreting that?
Well, the more a person learns Torah, the more he has the proper tools how to avoid the outer influences of life.
So move.
No, if you keep yourself, being delved in Torah learning, your wisdom becomes greater. You know what to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to.
But your eyes still see it.
You have the choice whether to look at news articles or not. You can, if you're on Facebook and you're seeing news articles all over the place, it's your choice whether to click on that news article or to just keep on scrolling.
Oh, well, if we're talking about that, I'm so anti, Facebook, Instagram, the news. I mean, it's not even on. It's kind of like, are you watching the presidential debate today? No, I choose to watch a movie. Like, that I understand, and that I do. I'm more saying that, like, the more we're learning, the more we realize it. We just step outside. We can see how just, the world is and how much we don't belong, and we need to go back home to the homeland. Like, where this is not our home. We're not meant to be comfortable here.
Yeah.
And like, so it's just sad though, because we're taught to not follow bad influences or whatever. When we see our own people in our nation following those bad influences, it's kind of sad. And it's something that I saw Mary Marvin post in the group about Egypt. How not all of us were freed.
Right. A lot of people chose to stay in the darkness. A lot of people chose not to leave.
I feel like that's going on today.
That's 100%.
Okay, good.
That's 100%. Many people choose to continue staying in the quote-unquote comfort zone. What's the problem with the comfort zone? You know what that shows? You know what the problem is with a comfort zone? A comfort zone has a boundary. You can't get out of this. You can't get out of this bubble. This is called a comfort zone. You can't grow.
Right.
So the moment you step out of the comfort zone, you're able to grow and you're able to do things that you never thought you would be able to.
But
did I think a year ago I'd be able to literally take time and sit every single day, more than an hour, just studying Torah? Just so Baruch Hashem I could, focus on my weekly classes? No. But Baruch Hashem, I managed to step out of my comfort zone and started to do this. And it helps me feel great.
I kind of like what Mary Marvin's saying right now. She said, to answer your question, to stay away from a bad influence, live in a bubble. And if you think about it, many of us are bad influence just the same as we are good influence. Depends on that aspect of yourself, which is true.
Correct.
And then she said, do you think people who choose to live in the darkness are the people who are asleep?
Definitely, 100%. 100%. I don't know if you noticed, but also in the morning prayers that we do in Birkot HaShachar, one of the blessings that we say is, he who opens the eyes of the blind. And it's not referring to just literal blindness. It's referring to spiritual blindness as well. So if you really want the world to wake up, I would suggest doing the morning blessings and putting a little extra focus on that blessing in particular, where Hashem will open the eyes of the blind, and really ask Hashem to open the eyes of the blind, the ones who are in deep spiritual slumber.
Now, does this whole staying away from bad influences also apply to people, to fellow Jews that are maybe going down a wrong path or whatever, and they're not such a great influence? Does that also apply, or are we supposed to still be involved with them?
What do you mean? Give me an example.
People who defame you,
People who talk bad about you and stuff?
Yeah, and make it public.
Okay.
And they, say rabbis or rabbitzins that might believe that person over you or whatever, and so then you got a whole community of a group that's just not right, because the truth is, there's truth, right?
Right.
And what they did was wrong. I mean, we see it with the story of Pinchas.
Right.
What he did or whatever. And it's a similar thing that we're seeing modern day. So, in that instance, are we still supposed to, sit there and hang around them? Maybe still go to that shul or whatever where they're at, and now we're around bad influences? Or do we...
If there's a specific place that makes you feel not welcome, or you don't feel comfortable,
yes,
and in a way you kind of feel spiritually violated,
yes,
you don't have to be in that kind of an environment. You don't have to be mean and angry towards them. You could be neutral, but you don't have to reestablish a connection. Same thing with friends. If you had a friend that hurt you in the past, and whether if it was a bad influence or not a bad influence, you can choose to forgive that person, forgive yourself for not knowing better, or whatever it is,
right,
and move forward. You don't have to rekindle a friendship if it didn't do you good in the first place. So you could be neutral. You don't have to rekindle a friendship.
Right, but that's pretty much what it is. Something that was a bad influence, or something that wasn't
right.
So right. Because that's what Mary Marvin said something. To come to think of it, Lot's wife was a bad influence. She straight out didn't listen to the angels, as in don't look back. She looks back at Sodom being destroyed. I'm sure she was also a bad influence on Lot along with the community. She had double exclamation point. Mm-hmm. But wasn't he considered a tzaddik compared to his neighbors?
No. I don't think that the Torah states that Lot was considered a tzaddik amongst his neighbors. The only credit that Lot had was only for the fact that he was Avram's nephew. That's it.
And that's why he was saved.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why he was saved. Yeah, and we're going to get into the whole destruction of Sodom. I think it's in next week's Parsha. And that's going to be really interesting. No, Vayera.
Vayera, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I actually would love to be alive to see the world destroyed. I know that sounds really bad, but you know what? There's something that, last week's Parsha was Parsha's Noah. And I don't know what it is with that Parsha, but my son also likes that Parsha. But there's something that's so peaceful when the flood came. I don't know why, but it's just so peaceful. And I know, Hashem promised that he wouldn't destroy the world like that ever again. But I swear, the way the world is right now, we totally need a cleansing on, a global thing. And I'm not talking the pandemic.
Bring out the sage. But wait, I don't think there is enough.
No, I'm not talking about the pandemic. Because viruses are viruses. We're not even going there. I'm not talking about that. Because this has been going on a lot longer than that thing. What I'm talking about is it needs to just be cleansed. Water. A giant mikveh. Everybody needs to go into this giant body of water and come out cleansed.
With how 2020 is going right now, let's not wish water as cleansing upon the whole world, please.
Why not? I think it would be great.
Because you never know when the gates of prayer are actually open.
Okay, so snow? because I'll deal with snow. I'm going to stay inside with my burning wood fire, my fireplace and my hot cocoa, and I'm going to enjoy the snow outside because that's what soothes me. But what I'm saying is, he's already been doing that in different parts of the world. But what I'm saying though is like on a cleansing level, we're seeing what he's done because when we talk about this week's Parsha, and then next week's Parsha was what he does to Sodom and everything like that, which is what Miriam was picking up on and stuff like that. We are still seeing that today. He does destroy.
Oh yeah.
He destroys
and cities
and stuff like that. I mean, we see it with hurricanes, we see it with tornadoes, we see it with.
Read Miriam's comment, please.
That's okay if 2020 will hear me. It's been hearing me all along. I'm anti. Well, we're not.
Right.
If 2020 will hear me, then that means Trump will be president. Okay.
B'ezrat Hashem,
But
amen.
I'm just saying, all right? And if 2020 would hear me, then that means every Congress member in the House and the Senate should be fired, and we need new ones because, oh my God, they need to get their life together. Now that would be a miracle. But that's the part of 2020 that needs to hear us, but it doesn't. All right.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to move on to the Rashi with Lecha. And this is going to be in chapter 13, verses 10 to 13. So chapter 13 summary is Lot chooses money over morality. Now that we have learned that Avraham and Lot could not stay together and they are separated, Avraham gave Lot the first choice of where to live. Lot chose, Lot chose the richest part of the country, even though it was cruel and corrupt. Lot's mistake was that he believed he could enjoy the riches without becoming corrupted. Well, he was wrong. So in chapter 13, verse 10 in Rashi, it says, so Lot raised his eyes. Lot seized the opportunity to leave the morally constricting company of Abraham. The raising of the eyes, Rashi explains, he let himself be guided by his senses, meaning materialistic wants, needs, lust, etc. And in chapter 13, verse 11, from the east, since the word kedem can also be understood as ancient one, the sages comment that by leaving Abraham, Lot separated himself from Hashem. From God, the ancient one of the world, saying, I want neither Abraham nor his God. And this is in Midrash Rashi. So Rashi makes this point. As it also states in Pirkei Avot, chapter 4, Perek 4, chapter 28. I think that's how you say it. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar says, there are 3 bad things that remove a person from this world. Jealousy, desire, and looking for honor. So Lot went to Sodom knowing that the people there were evil, and their influence was even worse. He didn't think he would be influenced, but he was influenced, and due to that influence, jealousy, desire, and honor, which means ego, caused his disconnection from Hashem. Our being humble, when we give in to jealousy, desire, and honor, we disconnect ourselves from Hashem. With us being humble and simple creatures, our being humble and simple creates an unbreakable bond between us and Hashem. And this is the biggest blessing. Don't overlook the small packages. They usually contain a larger reward. So over here in Pirkei Avot, it says that those 3 bad things will remove a person from the world, which is jealousy, desire, and honor. Why is it dafka those things that can remove a person from this world? You know why? Because those are 3 character traits that actually act like a contagious virus. They're things that are very, very, very hard to stop. It's like a virus for the neshama. When a person has constant jealousy and desire and always wanting to be known or well respected. It's very hard to snap out of those three traits.
Miriam goes, lot sounds like modern day American. And then she's asking, what do you mean? Don't ignore the smaller packages. It contains bigger awards.
Smaller packages meaning I'm referring to a human being being very simple and humble. When a person is being simple and humble, the reward of that is so much more greater than that of a person who looks for honor from someone that's jealous and constantly goes after desire. A person that does those three things, in most cases, they become like a small person in a lot of people's eyes. Like a lot of people would start to look down on them because they tend to chase the things that don't really have meaning in life, if that makes sense.
It's a type of car.
Yaakov. No.
Give an example. Like, okay, so like if we were to do like say examples or whatever, like people who give into the desire of money.
Yeah, people that chase after money and constantly chase after money, and the only thing that's important to them is money. How is the general public gonna look at them?
A snob.
A snob, right? Entitled?
Pretty much.
And the list can go on.
They have that behavior too. The people that are generally they have that whole I'm entitled behavior or whatever. But I think also like don't some of them. I mean, I don't think all of them, but I think some of them also have that trait of very jealous.
Right.
A jealousy nature. And then what was like the third thing you were saying? Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
Honor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So because they're always chasing after money or whatever and everything like that, they feel very like oh, you should honor me kind of mentality, and then whatever, and then they're the ones that like will sit there and put down you or whatever because you're very like simple and you're not concerned with like how much money or whatever, as long as like you have enough funds to pay the bills and everything is afloat, you're good. But depending on like they could look at you and stick up their nose and go, I don't want to talk to you. Look at what neighborhood you live in or whatever, as if like you're dirt.
Yeah, there's also the type of honor that people think that it's not being full of ego, but it is. There I've also seen many public speakers who Baruch Hashem give a lot of classes on Torah and whatnot, and the moment you try to reach out for them, they claim to talk to everybody and help out or reach out, but when you post a comment, you don't get a response, or when you're trying to send them a message, you don't get a response, or they say, yeah, I'm gonna get back to you, and they never do. That is also a certain type of ego that is looked down upon. And when more people will experience that, they're just gonna disconnect from the person that's giving the classes.
Right. Now, Miriam is saying desire.
Also lust. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's not just for materialistic items, it's also lust.
I think there was a movie where they had like two different drinks and they were describing lust and love. And lust is sweeter than love. And so because it's sweet, but it's going to have bitter eventually, whereas love, it's not so sweet, but it's still nice. And so if you go after lust, just because it seems sweeter, it has its bad reward. Like, not everything that looks so great is actually great.
Exactly.
You have to look
that's also what I meant by that's also what I meant by where is it? Don't overlook the smallest packages. They usually contain a larger reward. Being humble, being modest, that would get you a lot more farther in life than being boastful and full of desire and ego and whatnot.
I'm one of the, I kind of would like to just, like with that, like being with that said, we're better off just being who we are, true to ourselves, than trying to chase after something we're not meant to be.
Correct.
Because the more we sit there and we chase after something we're not meant to be, the more we're going to make ourselves sick, and the more it's just going to be like soured milk or whatever. Like, it's just going to be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And because it might look great, but it's not great for us.
Right, I hear you.
Simple is always better. I like simple. And when you overcomplicate things, oh my goodness, Lord. But I think like that's pretty much, right?
Yeah. Oh, quiet, Charlie. Okay. So I think that sums it up for this week's Parsha, for this week. And I'm going to go ahead and get the prayer of thanks. And I noticed that I didn't say the before prayer right before I started. So maybe I should say this and then this.
Yeah, you did.
Are you sure?
Yeah, nobody was on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because you said before.
Okay.
Oh, but I mean, say it again. It doesn't hurt to say it again.
Okay.
You should say it before and after anyway. Just say it again.
Yep. Well, Hashem, this shiur was, we learned this shiur for the Ilun Nishmat of the Mechaber, the Sefer Rabbeinu Shimshon Chaim ben Rav Nachman Michael. May it be your will, Ribono Shel Olam, that the words he wrote in the introduction to his Sefer come true in the three categories he mentioned: children, health, and parnasa.
Amen.
And now I'm going to go ahead and read, finalize it with Tefillah L'Todah, which is prayer of thanks. Thank you, Hashem, King of Kings and Master of the world. Thank you for the infinite times that you helped me, supported me, rescued me, encouraged me, cured me, guarded over me, and made me happy. Thank you for always being with me. Thank you for giving me the strength to observe your commandments, to do good deeds, and pray. Thank you for all the times you helped me and I didn't know how to say thank you. Thank you for all the loving kindness you do for me each and every moment. Thank you for every breath that I breathe. Thank you, Hashem, for all the things that I do have, and thank you, Hashem, even for the things I don't have. Thank you for my periodic difficulties, my occasional setbacks, and for the times when I don't feel happy, because everything is for my ultimate benefit, even if I don't see that it's always for my best. Deep in my heart, I know that everything that comes from you is the very best for me and designed especially for me in precision and exact divine providence of which only the King of Kings is capable of. Thank you for the periodic times that are difficult for me, for only that way they enable me to fully appreciate the good times. For only after being in darkness, one can appreciate the light. Thank you for the wonderful life you have given me. Thank you for every little thing that I have, for everything comes from you and no one else. Thank you for always listening to my prayers. Creator of the world, I apologize from the bottom of my heart for all the times that I didn't appreciate what you gave me, and instead of thanking you, I only complained. I am dust and ashes, and you are the entire universe. Please don't ever cast me away. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's Parsha. If I missed any questions, I apologize. I'll probably be able to read through it afterwards. And later on tonight, I'll be uploading this video to YouTube. So in the meantime, you guys have a wonderful week, a wonderful Shabbos. And we will meet again next week.
Okay, now when I hear the Parsha